let's start with the basics. We want to be able to breathe easily through our nose. So this means that we need to do what we can to keep it nice and clear. The first thing that we're going to do is saline spray. Nobody likes it, so you're just gonna have to get past that. It's gonna get easier the more that you do it. So we don't wanna be just using this whenever we're sick or when our children are sick. It's gonna be difficult to use and it's gonna set you up for failure. I recommend that you do it at nighttime because we want to be able to breathe easy through our nose while we're sleeping. When you're using this, I want you to put your head forward and you're going to spray towards your nasal passages, both sides. You might wanna switch hands and spray this way. So once your head down, so this is gonna serve to get all of that gunk nice and broken up. We want the mucus to be as thin as possible so that it's easy to get it out of the nose. So blow your nose. For kids, something that you can do to help them to learn how to blow their nose is you can have them try and blow, so they're gonna blow bubbles and then try and blow bubbles with your nose. So same concept. Then, as they build that skill, then they'll be able to blow their nose and get all of the gunk out. When the gunk is sitting in our sinuses, it just continues to encourage that congestion, so we don't want that. The second thing is this nasal spray. So with the saline spray, you want that to come out, and this is going to stay in. This is called Clear. It's spelled with an X, and it is a xylitol nasal spray. It is a natural antibacterial. So same thing, tilt your head forward and do 2 sprays and then 2 sprays. So you want that to stay in there so it can really help to get all of that nice and, so it can really help to get that inflammation down in your nose. Things to avoid are dust, dander, and dairy. These things will encourage congestion, and so it's a good idea to avoid it in general. So the first thing to evaluate is your sleeping area. I know that we all love our pets, but it's better to not have your pets in your sleeping area. They carry around a lot of dust and dander, and that encourages congestion. Make sure you're washing everything in your room that is cloth that can hold on to dust and dander. It holds on to way more than you'd think. A big proponent of this is stuffed animals in your kids' rooms. Even if they just sit there, even if they don't move around, they're encouraging all of that in your house. So with my daughter, we actually took all of our stuffed animals to the babies and gave them to the babies. And she was really struggling with congestion at nighttime. She was waking up congested, and this is something that really helped her. Dairy is the hardest one to address. We all like ice cream and milk. Maybe not all of us like milk, but I think most people like ice cream. Dairy encourages congestion. If you think about the last time you had kind of a runny nose and you decided to eat ice cream or something dairy anyways, think about how it made that mucus thicker and it was just grosser. So that's what's happening with dairy. Should you get rid of all dairy? No. Should you try? Maybe. We'll see. We're not trying to overhaul your entire life right now. We're trying to make small changes that will make improvements. So that's for you to decide. Now let's talk about sleep hygiene. The first thing we can do is set up a nightly routine. Just like babies, this helps us to be able to fall asleep easier. It triggers our brains to let us know it's time to go to bed. It's pretty easy to trick our brains. So the next thing is set a bedtime. This kind of goes along with the routine. If we're going to bed the same time every night, our bodies start to know it's time to shut down. It's time to go to sleep. Implement a screen curfew. Try and cut the technology about an hour before you go to bed if you can. Try and use blue light blocking glasses. Try and read a book. Try and do some yoga. Try and do some breathing exercises. There's many things that you can try and do, and it doesn't have to be a big deal, but if you're trying to get some good sleep, this is a great way to do it. Next, let's work on getting outside for at least 30 minutes a day. Go for a walk, play with your kids, go for a bike ride. You're going to sleep easier if you're outside for at least 30 minutes a day. Avoid scary or violent content. If you're anything like me, I have a hard time sleeping if I watch something scary. So it shows up in my dreams. This says to nix caffeine. Do your best with that. I know that if I drink caffeine after 12 p.m., I am going to have a hard time sleeping. Recently, I decided to finish my coffee at like 4 p.m. and I was awake until 2 a.m. just with my eyes wide open, and just baffled that I couldn't go to sleep. Some people it doesn't bother. My dad, he can drink a cup of coffee at like 8 p.m. and he's fine. So you know your body best. Don't sleep with a pet. Try your hardest on that one. Some people, that's a non-negotiable, and that's fine. I understand. We moved our pet to like right at the door, and even then sometimes she's a little upset with us. So these are just a few things that can help tremendously. Don't try and overhaul your life, but make a few small changes here and there, and you'll see a big improvement. The next thing that we're gonna talk about is the basics of myofunctional therapy. We'll talk about 2 goals that we're going to address in this program. The first thing that we're going to do is talk about tongue placement. Where does your tongue need to be? You want the tip of your tongue on the spot that's right behind your 2 front teeth. So you'll feel there's a little bump. This is called the incisive papilla. The tip of your tongue sitting right there. And you want the rest of your tongue to be lightly suctioned to the roof of your mouth. So that should be our resting posture. A lot of times, and even me, I feel my tongue resting in the floor of my mouth. So we don't want that. We want it up on the roof. Can you see this little bump? Can you feel the bump? You want the tip of your tongue. Just like that. The other thing is just nasal breathing. You want to breathe through your nose always. I have cues in place to help me check and see if I'm breathing through my nose or my mouth and where my tongue's at. I look at my phone a lot, way more than I probably should. So I use that to check and see, am I breathing through my nose? Where's my tongue? Because sometimes I'll just be sitting there and my tongue's in the floor of my mouth. And with allergies right now, I was raking leaves all day yesterday, and I was breathing through my mouth, first of all, because I think I might be a little out of shape. I'm working on that. And second, because my nose was getting congested from all of the dust. So I didn't even realize I was breathing through my mouth. So that's one thing that you really need to pay attention to. So, tongue to spot. Tongue lightly suctioned to the roof of the mouth. And breathe through your nose.